But still, inshallah, I don't think there's much to cover today. We're going to inshallah be able to get through some of these remaining Q&As and the like. The chief has just landed in Medina, alhamdulillah. So getting ready to welcome you all. It's now just the last minute kind of logistics. I'll be releasing a video for the procedure of what happens in the UK airports. I've already explained yesterday about the US and Canada ones. eSIMs is the most important thing. The chief is eSIM's working great upon arrival, so that's great. And he's recorded some videos and uploaded them using the eSIM. So go to the eSIM tab and click and choose the package, whatever you think is appropriate for you. Remember that we do a lot of this, and this is stuff takes data. You're at home, most of you, and using Wi-Fi, and so therefore you're not thinking too much about data. But on the run, and especially if you're going to be doing calls home and video calls and the like, then so there's that. There's a question actually on that about the World SIM having a option which is unlimited, but I remember being told that the unlimited one is not doesn't work in Saudi or something like that, just so that you're aware. I don't know the exact details, but I was told very, very specifically that. But I will go and get that clarified from the main guy. And so if you one second. If you change from standard plan time, you can get unlimited for £9. Shouldn't we go for that? So there seems there's something that whatever. Okay, just hold on that, and I will get that confirmed in the next few. Then I'll get that confirmed. Also, by the way, when you have an eSIM activated, it doesn't take your normal number out of use, right? You can have both numbers on, and they're both receiving phone calls, but you choose which one to use for data. Obviously, you don't want to activate the data until you are at the airport, meaning the departure airport. Then you're in the air anyway, then it doesn't matter. So then you'd activate your data, but you'd keep your normal data because you don't want to waste the eSIM data in your own country. And in fact, most of them are not, I don't think, going to work in the thing. The reason that it's cheaper, it's a cheap option, is because it's a Saudi-specific one as opposed to a global or X or Y or Z or whatever. All right, okay, let's jump straight in then. Is there a limit for the number of times that a woman can wipe over the hijab for wudu? The answer is no, there's no limit, and that's a concession which is allowed without any problems. I've been taking the period prevention pills for a couple of weeks or so now, and I noticed spotting today, but not any continuous bleeding or usual period-like flow. I'm still 10 days away from my usual routine period. Anyway, should I be concerned? No, meaning that this is not the period, and this is just the istihada, and you carry on. But you do need to be concerned about how effective the pill is, and that you might need to be doubling up dose, and that when you get there and temperature gets hotter, then things are going to get upside down. And that is clearly reflecting your anxiety levels, your stress levels, and now it's going to go. And that just proves the point that I was making. This will be happening, unfortunately, and you need to be aware of that and get ready for that. But no, nothing to change now. I have the usual medications with me. Paracetamol and all the rest of it, but I don't have any labels. I'm okay. And yes, and she says that she's got a controlled drug called norethistron. Norethistron is not a controlled drug, and you don't need to worry about this, and you can keep this in your normal luggage as well. And someone else also asked a question about the antibiotics that have been given by doc. Do they need to be put in cabin or in hand luggage? Either works, there's not a problem, and you do not need a prescription for these things. These are not the only drugs that are going to get you in any kind of trouble or anything like that. Can you clarify regarding wearing masks whilst in ihram only because you are afraid of getting sick? However, will not wear it from Heathrow. And so this is a problem. I don't like this idea that people are selective with it and only wear it in ihram. When a person is saying, I don't want to get sick, then it means that they don't want to get sick at all in the crowds. And therefore, I expect them to be using it all the time because it's all crowded. And our hotel is crowded. Our breakfast bar is crowded. Our Medina is crowded. And then Mecca is crowded. And if a person is showing consistency because they want to wear a mask to avoid illness, then it's permissible to wear it in ihram. There is no there's no... what's called a fidya to pay. It's safer, of course, to pay a fidya if a person wants to keep it on all the time, which is to feed the 6 people. which is not the most expensive thing in the world, I get it, but it's just I need to give you an idea that whenever you're going to do something for your own benefit in terms of an actual kind of concession, which is not actually a concession, right? Like wearing something or like wearing particular things, which I covered in the ihram section, then it's safer to pay than the fidya breaker. It's like cutting the hair when a person's not allowed to cut hair in ihram. So like the hadith of the head lice and so on. So, but if a person is actually someone who gets ill, is trying to combat, trying to protect against that, then that's something which is allowed. Okay, no problem. While making wudu, can one wipe over the socks if the socks are ankle length? No, they've got to cover the socks, and I will cover that inshallah over there. Can I wear clothes with faces of animals on it, pajamas at nighttime? This is allowed. And if they're covered with a prayer outfit on top and worn underneath only, then especially allowed. Or did you say that when combining the prayers, you read iqamah in between? Yes, it's the sunnah to read iqamah in between. When making dua for the self or ones requested by others, is it better to say Allahumma or our Lord, or either sufficient? Either is sufficient. Both are good. Unscented panty liners and the like, are they allowed to be worn? Yes, they are. Every clothes is allowed to be worn by a lady as long as it's not intentionally scented proper, and these kind of things are not scented proper, as we say. Travel insurance is permissible. Yes, I believe that, and I've given like minor details about that, and we'll do that later, inshallah, for those in a special session for those who want to understand insurance. These are bonus sessions, right, to do mu'amalat, as we say, those things which are not related to the Hajj. But you know, it is a tarbiyah program. It's not just about the Hajj. So absolutely, I'll take these questions. We'll do dedicated stuff on that. But yes, I hold it to be permissible. 2 questions about the ajwa. Are there any restrictions on bringing dates into a country, especially Canada, because they are fresh and not sealed and the like? I can tell you only this, that thousands, obviously we've got Canadians here, we've got guides, who've been taking it back multiple times a year. Thousands, of course, that I have had in my groups that have been buying regularly, and we've not had no problem. And I don't go looking for a problem either. And I can't say there is a problem. And that's all I can say. Now, this second question is important. How long can they be stored? And the answer is for years, actually, right? And I say that because I found a bag of ajwa that I bought 2 years ago. Same from the Sheikh itself. And honestly, it tastes exactly the same. You might say, how's that possible? And the answer is because this is not a wet date, right? The problem, and I don't want to go into this now because when we do the Quba walk, I'm going to give you a practical demonstration of this. But when the Prophet ﷺ was, actually, in fact, I'm not going to talk about this now. Remind me on the Quba walk, so I give you this explanation. But basically, months and months, no problem whatsoever. Okay, it shouldn't be extremely direct sunlight, but otherwise, months and months, no issues at all. If I usually make dua for multiple people in my life, asking for their sins to be forgiven for my parents and the like, I usually would group them and then say the request. So the request is made once, but for all, and I mention them. Do I get more reward for mentioning it for them separately? Forgive my parents, forgive my siblings, or is a grouping okay? It seems like a shortcut because it is a shortcut. It's a permissible shortcut. It's an acceptable shortcut, but it's a shortcut. And therefore, a person shouldn't expect the same reward as asking for them for individually. Remember the key. Dua is not just doing another person a favor. Dua is an act of ibadah. You get rewarded for it. So the longer you spend in it and the more effort you go to it, the better it is, right? For all involved, them, you, everyone. Just like everything. And deen is all about effort. Whatever action it is that requires more effort or involves more effort, the more reward a person gets. If it's okay, this would reduce the dua time a lot. It will, but remember, we don't want to reduce the dua time. We are here to do nothing but make dua. Keep it a point of that. When we land in Saudi, we'll need to collect and we'll have access to our checked-in luggage, right? I think I recall in a webinar that in the last time that we see our luggage, the last time we see our luggage will be when we check in on our outbound flight, those on first phase packages, and then back in our Medina hotel, inshallah. Can someone confirm if we will need to collect or have access to our checked-in luggage again because it's given to the luggage truck and it's our responsibility to hand it to the... No. Listen, the team will deal with everything, okay? You have obviously the Al-Bayt team who are ultimately responsible, but we like to run it ourselves. And so essentially, it's like it everywhere else. You go to the airport, you check your first of all, you're going to, and I'll release a video about what the process is going to be at the airport. Nobody is allowed to go to the check-in counter before they've seen the guide. If the guide's not there, you wait. Guide might have gone to the toilet, XYZ, and I mean guide, I mean our team member. So that's Ruhi in the US, and that's Widad and Danish in Toronto, and that's Doc and Nazia in London for the original flights. And then for the restructured flights, then it's going to be Taj in and myself actually in Manchester for STH, which is on Friday. And you're going to have Imtiaz and Mustafa Burrayan in London for STH, the few that are flying from STH on Friday. And then it's going to be Abida for Manchester on Saturday, I believe. And then it's going to be Naeem for Etihad tomorrow. And then it's going to be me and Abdul Ghaffar for the big London Heathrow jobby. And then it's going to be Shazad and Tanveer for the two flights that go out from Heathrow as well, but come back to Birmingham and Manchester. These are the folks that you have to see, so they give you everything at the airport before you check in. Before you check in and make sure that everything is all on. Then you go, you do the check-in, and that's when your luggage will go. Once the luggage goes, then of course you're not going to see that until you get to your final destination. So far it seems, alhamdulillah, that they're checking them through Jeddah, they're checking them through Riyadh, and you'll get them in Medina. Those that are arriving in Jeddah and are going to be catching either the train, inshallah, or more likely to be the coach, depending upon the time. Either way, the luggage will be collected. You will have to collect it. That's your final destination. You'll go out with the guide. And as I said in the video, you'll make sure that you follow the instructions of the guide. And then you will then get that, they will then take that luggage from you onto a luggage truck. And then you will then get onto the coach, depending on how many you are. If you're a small number, then the luggage will go with you on the coach. If you're going on a train, inshallah, we get the train tickets. The train tickets, I think, are done. It's a question of whether it's actually possible to get onto the train. But if you get on the train, then the luggage will be taken on luggage trucks, and you guys will then get on the train, and you'll see it in the hotel. All the time, you'll see it in the hotel. If you go via train from Jeddah, you will get to your hotel years before the luggage truck does. Therefore, that's why I said anybody that's arriving into Jeddah should assume that their cabin bag, the trolley that you pull with you, has a change of clothes, so that gets you through a day and a night in Medina Hotel, just in case your luggage is delayed. All right, folks? I explained this yesterday, by the way. Or maybe this question was asked before yesterday. I don't know. Okay. Can one give their zakat to... I just received a message, by the way, from one of the Al-Bayt folks. This is important for the burners and for the custom flight people on Musafir, that all of your individual flights are with the operations team, and you should, and I'm going to tonight release a number of guides. Okay, these are Al-Bayt official guides that explain all of the arrivals process in the airport and in the train station, and I want you to make sure you follow these instructions very, very carefully. It covers all the bases. Can one give the zakat to people like Afia Siddiqi's lawyer who is doing pro bono work but needs money for legal stuff? I asked this question in the fiqh of zakat, but at that time you were pondering on this question yourself and said that you would discuss it with senior scholars, but I haven't heard back after that. And I still let's sit in a base camp and discuss this, okay? Because the reason I didn't answer it then, because I want to say yes, I want to say this. I want to say that this is the ransoming and the freeing of the prisoners, and this is a part and parcel of that, and I believe that is legitimate. But I do need a few dots to be lined up first, okay? You mentioned that you would send out the logistics of each flight. Of course, it's before. No, it is. I'm going to do it, but it's a nightmare now to do because all of the prayer plans. I am going to do it, inshallah. If a woman is visiting Medina during her menses, what things can she not do? And what is she able to do? Is it worth cancelling the Rawda booking if you know you'll be unclean? I'm not comfortable with ladies going into near the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, even though it's a contradiction in terms, because I do allow ladies to go into the rest of the Masjid al-Haram. But I kind of feel like it's like you're not in the. I don't know what the right wording is. The majority of scholars do not allow you to go into the mosque at all. Let me just make it clear. I follow a fatwa, and I believe that this is an exceptional case. That with the modern products that we have, sanitary products, that leaking and soiling the masjid is not the risk that it used to be. And I believe that a woman is allowed to enter, and she would basically read Quran, make dhikr, make dua, observe, and not take the place of any of the ladies that are praying. The Rawda itself, I do not believe it's good that they go into the Rawda. But do I Do I, hand on heart, think it is completely impermissible haram? I think that if a woman stayed in the far corner and just observed things, which is what I actually believe about the Rawda anyway, that it's a place of observance as opposed to specifically a place of prayer, and you saw my video on that, and I encourage everybody here to, if you've done nothing, at least review the videos on the Rawda, the 3, and I'll post those a bit later as well, again, to remind you. At least do that so that you're ready for the experience this weekend. You'll see that the Rawda is about energy, and you want to get that energy just by observation, right? I think is good. So that's that, okay? Just not praying, that's all, and just not taking the place of a lady prayer. You don't stay in the prayer line because you're cutting the prayer line by being there and not praying. So you should be in the corridors and in the pathways, which there are loads of. Is it possible to buy a wheelchair for sadaqah? We will be buying as a group. We will have a collection. We do that every year. Or was it every year or started last year? I can't remember, but it's a fantastic initiative. And the way that we do this is that as a group, we basically, all of us together, we donate towards a little fund there to buy wheelchairs that we ourselves use, and then ensure that it then goes to donation to the authorities that will then, and we pay for a truck that comes, because we buy like 50 or 100 of them, right? Like a load. But we can't buy them in Medina because it gets a bit in the way. We have to buy them when we get to base camp. That's when we start to use them as well more, because around the Haram, there's lots of kind of places to use other people's donated wheelchairs. So there's a lot of availability. But then when we get to base camp, it's the days of Hajj and whatever way that we need them amongst our own people and the elderly. So we buy a load. The ones that we're going to use, we use. The others that are not, we leave in our building nice and protected and safe. And then at the end, we then hire a truck, and then we then get them all donated to the masjid. So absolutely make sure that you stay on top of me to make sure that that happens. I'm planning on buying 20 kilos of dates. With the date supply, be able to put them into big box, and you can use them as a piece of luggage. Absolutely, you can do that. But it depends upon which dates. If you want the ajwa thingy to do that, then you need to put that into a Q&A form and say, no, I want the sheikh who's selling the ajwa to do that. That's a specific request, and he will then do that beforehand, okay? However, if you're talking about a shopkeeper, shopkeepers do that normally all the time, okay? And that is like for the cheaper dates and stuff, all right? But if you want my guy to do that, then you'll just need to put that in the Q&A form, and then we will do it. Once we get to the Medina, Mecca hotels, is there still a possibility of asking if either a double or triple is available, as we are 2 ladies sharing a quad, or even a quad where 2 females and a male can share with an empty bed? Also, would there be a coach to take us from the Mina to the Jamarat? So it is possible that when you get to Mecca, Medina, that could happen. But I would want you to message Shazad, admin Shazad first, okay? That's important. Number one. And will there be a coach to take us from Mina to the Jamarat? No, there are no coaches inside of the Mina camps, okay? And anybody who's unable to is either pushed or someone does it on their behalf. There is a way to make that walk a bit shorter, but I'll cover all this in base camp. So don't worry yourself about that situation, okay? I've been out of the country for 7 weeks, and I bought some medicines in Pakistan. Will this be a problem, as I read that medicine should come with prescriptions? It was erythromycin, metronidazole. No, these are all okay. These are all antibiotics. You'll be absolutely fine, inshallah. Is it okay to wear an eye mask and to block the light when in ihram? The answer is okay. You were pretending to read off your phone when you're making dua at Safa Marwa, and at this time you physically had your left hand raised in the dua position and the other was holding the phone. Is this the correct way to make dua whilst reading from a book or phone? There is no correct way, because we don't have a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ ever holding anything. And so therefore we ask ourselves the question, if you need to hold something, ideally you don't. And when I tend to make dua when I'm reading, I tend to either sit down and have it in front of me, or I stand in front of one of the barriers and I put my phone down or whatever, so I can keep my hands like that. Or I will cup my hands and keep it inside my hands cupped, like there, just there, like this. So I will have it making a dua like that, right? But obviously I was making a video, so it was probably I was doing this, yeah, probably like that. And I want to say that whatever option that allows you to do it whilst keeping the hands together is the better option. Okay, that's closer to the sunnah. To keep your hands close, that's the one. But if the hands, remember, it's okay for the hands to separate. And yes, it is okay to hold the hand and lift your hands. And it's okay to make dua without the hands. And like I gave the example in the classes as well, to make the dua with one finger as well. So imagine you can be reading and making dua with one finger, and you're indicating Allahumma lakal hamd, Allahumma lakal hamd whilst you're reading. So The matter is flexible. The matter is flexible. Is it risky being an iPad? I don't know, but I'm bringing an iPad, so I'm a risk taker clearly. I don't think it's a problem, though. You mentioned about having a will in place. Could you please clarify about life insurance? Is it recommended or not? I believe that you should avoid life insurance. It's the one insurance product that I feel very uncomfortable about, and I don't think it is permissible. Is the du'as that you're making in Tawaf and Sa'i, are they the ones in the ruling of Hajj and Umrah notes? Yes, it is. Okay, so that's the same, one and the same. Any issues with putting Tylenol and Advil in a single container to save space? No problem at all. I do exactly that. I have a mixture of tablets. Obviously, I understand medication, so I don't get it mixed up. So make sure that you don't have a problem with that. As the days are getting close, my iman has significantly dipped, and a few people have messaged sins have increased, and I'm just thinking to myself if I'm worthy of this. I don't want to answer this question now. I want to answer this question when we get over there, because half of this question will be out the window. Things will happen when you get over there that are going to change the game. But I also want to just say something right now. That Hajj is not for the righteous and the holy people. Okay? Hajj is for those people who know that this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from them and wants them to be better, and this is your chance to be better. So less of the negativity and only positivity. And it's completely understandable and correct to always knock yourself down in a constructive way. But I just want you to know that this is absolutely the right attitude. But now the attitude changes, and we go through ups and downs, and we just need to be able to navigate that. So I just want to put that out there. I know that there are two sizes of ihram that are generally available. Slightly larger one for taller blokes. My question is that does both sheets need to be the equal same size? No, absolutely not. You go for whatever you feel more comfortable with. All right, it is not size and shape is not something which is governed. For ghusl, when cleaning ears, is it essential to thoroughly clean the naturally occurring wax in the outer ear, scrubbing and soaps, or is water sufficient? Yes, water is sufficient. I don't have a prescription for the antibiotics, so you don't need to worry about that. Okay. Is it okay to use a site like Dua List to organize du'as? Yes, it is. That's allowed. No problem about that. In the Rites of Hajj and Umrah book, in page 51, it indicates cover the right shoulder after 7 circuits, not 3. Covering having 3 or waiting until after 7. Okay, that must be a mistake. I'll have to look into that, because whatever the book says, the only thing about covering the uncovering of the shoulder starts at the beginning. Watch my Umrah video number 20, yeah, where I show it, right? So you uncover before you start tawaf, and then you finish after 7 units. You cover back on after the tawaf is finished. That's the correct thing. Page 53, return to the black stone after Zamzam. I explained this in the class. If you remember, I said that this is quite difficult. That's why the videos, the masterclass videos, are important, because I went into the proper details. I said that going back to it is a sunnah, but one that today is very difficult, and one that we intentionally leave out to make sure that the Hajj is a practical kind of thing. And I'll explain more. I explained this in a lot of detail in masterclass, and why we do Hajj like we do, and what does it mean to do something by the sunnah and not. So anyway, the answer is that is not you misreading it, and it's not something that you'll be able to do easily, and that's why we don't do it intentionally, and it's not the key aspect of the Hajj. Well, base camp provide towels. Yes, they give a small kind of towel, and if I remember correctly, how it works is that they have a policy where they will wash it once, meaning they replace it once in the period of time. So if you want to bring your own towel because you want to use it more or wash it more, then you're free to do that. But everybody receives a small towel, which is good enough, big enough to dry yourself after a shower or whatever, and then you can look after that towel, okay? And obviously the other hotels have that towel. And in Arafah and Mina and whatever, there are no towels, and you're expected to either have a small flannel, which is what I advise, or not at all, because honestly, everything is so hot and everything dries so quickly, and you'll be using your clothes to dry after wudu, nothing else. It is sunnah to not trim the hair or nails if offering qurbani during the Hijjah when you're at home. So should we not trim our hair nails before entering ihram on 8th of the Hijjah, or should we do it because there is also a sunnah before entering ihram? The rules of qurbani do not apply to the Hujjaj over there. Over there, we will be trimming, cutting, doing whatever we want all the way through the Hijjah, because our not trimming, cutting starts on the 8th. So ours is a limited period of time, whereas theirs is all of the first 9 days. For us, it's only 2 days that we will not be doing that, the 8th, 9th, and 10th. All right. If someone uses a credit card for Hajj on the basis that there is no interest charged for a certain number of months and pays it off before, then will this be okay? I know this is not ideal, as you don't like credit cards. Just want to know if this will affect the Hajj and Du'as. No, it will not affect the Hajj and Du'as. This is a matter that scholars differ. I don't like it. I think it's impermissible. But even if it's impermissible, it does not affect the actual ruling of Hajj. So I think that's important. Yeah. Could you share a general strategy for balancing sleep with worship? I just want to say this is a really good question, and I wish that I had dealt with this in the Q&A in the resources, because I can see this being of value even if people don't ask it. And you know what? I cannot remember the last time anyone asked this question, which shows you why I enjoy the Hajj so much. You're always being pushed and new things coming up, and this is great. And I want to say to you that it's difficult to put a strategy forward, but I'll tell you this much, that there are very few people like the Westerners, like us lot, that are as ready for this situation, because we get so badly done over in the winter and summer that we're used to 8 hours straight in the winter, and then suddenly the summer comes and the maximum sleep you can get at nighttime when you're praying Isha at 11 and waking up at Fajr for 4:30 is 3-4 hours. So we are used to the idea of getting sleep in small periods of time. So it's tough for us in summer in the northern kind of latitude countries like the UK and Europe and Canada and North American states, okay? But we've done it before. You've got to go into Hajj with a couple of points. You sleep wherever you can get it, and B, you are expecting and getting ready to be absolutely knackered all the way through. You're going to be utilizing adrenaline. You will not get a really, really comfortable sleep at all throughout the entire Hajj. You'll just have to be ready for that mentally. You take advantage where you can. So the nighttime, you're always only expecting to get yourself 3-4 hours of sleep. And one of the key periods of time is going to be the morning sessions. All right, whether in Mecca or in Medina, you're going to be utilizing the post-breakfast period. So 8 o'clock, getting 2-3 hours of sleep. So these are your two that you focus on. During the rest of the day and the like is tough. If you can catch a quick power nap for half an hour when you come back from Dhuhr, that's great. But that's only the basic principle that of sleep, grabbing wherever you can. This will change when it comes to Mina, because you'll find that when you wake up in Mina, the tents become extremely hot, and it's very, very tough to go to sleep. So in each part, I will be guiding you, making it clear, the different parts and places where you can get something in that. All right. Can you give a quick summary of praying in the masjid, which I did? The differences in the witr prayer, I did, but I will do that as well. Witr salah, you will not be praying behind any of the imams, so you'll pray that yourself. That's like however you normally do pray that, and I'll answer that over there in the Q&A sessions. Also in the silent prayers, I have read conflicting views on whether you recite both Surah Fatiha and the Surah whilst in congregation, or do you only read Surah Fatiha, stand silently? No, in my teaching, you will be reciting in every prayer, other than the loud ones where you can hear the imam actually reciting. So in the quiet prayers you will recite, and in the loud prayers you will listen. All right, and you will recite Surah Fatiha and Surah. Okay. Will there be water stations along the route? Absolutely. That's why you should carry bottles around. There are water stations in different places. Of course, in the masajid you have Zamzam, and then in different places you do have little taps and things along the way. In the first video on the overview of the Hajj and Umrah, it says to uncover the right shoulder only for the first 3 rounds of tawaf. So this is what the other guy was mentioning. But in your video on Umrah, you state that to uncover right shoulder for all 7 rounds of tawaf. So I have done something wrong there. Anyway, whatever I've said and done, and we do, please find me a timestamp and a moment, yeah, so we can put a note on that. But it's 100%. Ramal is what you do for the first 3, like the jogging. But the uncovering is for all 7, 100%. So I must have said something wrong. Secondly, this uncovering is only for the first tawaf when we do Umrah, and not for the tawaf for Hajj, correct? And not for the other nafil tawaf, correct? Can my wife or myself cut my hair to exit state of ihram? Yes. Can you use a hair trimmer first and then use a razor to make it easier? Absolutely, yes. Am I overthinking ihram? I'm worried that I will transfer the residue of moisturizers and scents onto my mobile phone and other items I will use during Hajj. after applying cream or oil, then touch my phone, some of the grease is on that phone. Likewise, if I use a notebook and pen, will this affect my state of ihram? No, I don't think so. This is something that uses waswas. Just get rid of it. Okay, this is not something which I believe that is valid. Also, is it allowed to use cold spray which contains menthol during ihram? Yes, if it's needed. Is electronic misbaha, digital counter, permissible to use? Yes, it is. What about all the other types? Yes, they are, all of them, no problem at all. For the pebbles that we collect to stone at Jamarat, is there a pouch available? Because yes, you'll get that. You'll get that in your nusuk bag. Don't need to worry about that. In the packing list, the foot ice ankle wrap from Comfy Temp, it is heavy. Is one sufficient? For the ladies, we just find that you just need more than one, but it's okay, one is sufficient. Can we use air freshener in the air whilst using the restroom in ihram? No. Okay, you mustn't create that environment or that situation. Okay. There's a few other questions there that I want to leave into the Hajj. We are flying independently from Malaysia to Medina, landing at 3 a.m. So I've covered all your points. I've said that there is a team there that you will know what to do, inshallah. All right, let's now, we're nearly finished here. Let's have a look. Alpha team folks will be told, inshallah, tomorrow. Okay, so expect, please, if you put your name forward, please expect a withheld call tomorrow, inshallah. And my strategy I'll be explaining tomorrow as well. Is there a particular method of praying for deceased family, and what are the best things to ask for on their behalf? So the Prophet ﷺ, in his dua for the deceased, that is the asl. Allahumma ghfir lahum warhamhum, Allahumma afihim wa'fu anhum. Basically, the dua of janazah. That is not something that is restricted to the janazah prayer, but rather this is the sunnah on how to make dua for the deceased. So that's something which you should utilize and use. When a person's then doing like a more personal, private dua, then this is what I say, this is what I mean, and this is what I when I talk about how that your dua has to be turned into like the act of worship that I want it to be, where you're more involved with it. You want to then have a conversation and think about that person, and think about you being in that person's shoes, and you think about the journey of the soul and the grave, and how that it is constricted upon every single person. Punishment in the grave will avoid nobody, that even the prophets, even the Salihin are under that threat of the grave. So what about then the rest of us, and how we want that to be enlightened, and how we want that to be spacious, and how we want the questioning to go, and how we want the transfer of our soul, and what the company is that we want, and the ease of being back together with family. And I want you to visualize that and think about that. These are, as I said, part of the manifestations that you should be bringing forth, and keeping it natural, as to worrying too much about the exact wording. I don't mean that in a negative way. You've got the exact wording in the different times and places. The question is more about how can I not as I said, allow the formal prescriptive dua to take the place of something where you know something about a person and what they would feel like, and so on. Okay, if we activate what else? Can I just confirm? And on the eSIMs, guys, okay, I will immediately be posting after this in the next 10 minutes. I'm going to go and speak to the guy and understand about this unlimited option and the like. Can I confirm that for the tawaf for men, the right shoulder is covered for the whole 7? I've really messed this up, haven't I? It's for the whole 7 tawafs. I'm asking because in the first masterclass, watching the animation, oh no, okay, that is a mistake by Sheikh Ahsan. He told me that, by the way. Sorry, you guys are talking about the first video. Actually, I still might have made a mistake myself, but that one I know. That's the famous one. That video has been out for years, and he misspoke. Yes. The shoulder is uncovered for all 7 rounds. Okay. By the way, this is just a sunnah. If a person forgot or did it more than, and even prayed with the shoulder uncovered, the prayer is valid, the tawaf is valid. That's very, very important. What is al-asl? Al-asl is, because it's a translation, this is referring to Sheikh al-Albani when he was talking about these in the original hadith books that you see behind, long ones. This Manasik al-Hajj is a tiny little thing that he wrote, but the references are in his hadith works. These are not for you to worry about, or you're never going to get to see those anyway. The du'as that we mentioned in the videos, which are also in the ruling documents, are great, but the du'as app doesn't seem to be the same, or missing some. Should we just follow what is in the ruling document, or looking in the app is fine too? Looking in the app is fine too. You will find slight variations, and these are all authentic, but the ones that are in the document are ones that I have validated myself and have a higher level of authenticity. The 10th of Dhul Hijjah is a public holiday in Saudi. Our facilities and services working normally during that day, for example, food, etc. Bro, let me tell you something, nothing is going to be closed in Hajj. It's going to be a madness, okay? All right. Regarding eSIMs, my Samsung is not compatible with eSIM. That's why we said Samsung in the bin, Android in the bin, iPhone's in the bud. I do have an iPhone. Do I open the link you have sent on my iPhone? Absolutely. If I owe money to an immediate family member, do I need to clear that debt, even if they've made it clear that it's fine? No. If they've said it's fine, you don't need to clear it. Having debt is not a problem during Hajj. Those doing Qurbani back home are not allowed to cut their nails. They have answered that question already. Okay, will we be able to give out sadaqah nails whilst in Mecca? Yes, I have a video on Instagram that I've shown, and we're gonna be very close to that hotel again, and I'll show it to you again. I might even link that video again in social media. Will we be able to give out? I have a prayer. I have a prayer mat with a foldable backrest. I should have brought my one. And you would have seen in our base camp videos that all of our group have one of those. But I normally make the group go and purchase one of those from the supermarkets and the different shops. It costs you about 10 quid, right? 10 quid, 11 quid, 12 quid, $10, £7. They're different qualities, different ones. And they're great. And I make everyone take one back because they're wonderful to take and sit and at home with. They're a prayer mat. They have a backrest. And for the base camp sessions, they're really useful. If you want to bring one from home, great. But yeah, absolutely. If you have one and you want to bring it with you, great. But like I said, I normally get folks to buy that one there, and then they either leave it there if they've got no weight allowance, or they bring it back. And because it's so cheap, I always think I always end up buying extra because that's just great. Are there any medications which are not permitted in the kingdom? Yani the serious stuff, like controlled drugs. The rest of everything is fine. Here's a person that's not watched any of the videos. They're asking, when in Mina camp, can we sleep during the night as Aziziyah? Or do we need to spend the night in Mina? You need to spend the night in Mina, okay? It is an obligation, but it's a flexible one, meaning if there's some problems or reasons, then we can deal with that, okay? We will be going to Bi'r Uthman. We will not be going to the Bi'r Uthman. It's not a sunnah to go to the Bi'r Uthman, and that they're not the best place or dates, despite what other people and scholars might have said. I began only 2 more questions. I began continuous cycling with the combined pill. That means not missing out any of the pills. And I still got the normal bleed the first week of May, just a few days later than I normally would. I've been pretty much spotting on and off since then. I've been treating it as istihada. I'm okay with that. And I think that you should start taking norethistron. You should add the norethistron from now because, please could you confirm? No, Saturday. Yeah, I agree with that. All right, carry on. And then add the norethistron from Saturday. I agree with that. And then just one other question, just a little anxious. The itinerary, as per the Nusuk summary, has changed. I'm on flight 4 now, and I was meant to be on another one. And when we land, it's going to say different. Let me tell you, right? Okay, you don't need to worry about the flight changes in terms of neither the e-tickets being here or not here. It doesn't matter at all. Your boarding pass will be given to you at check-in regardless. It's linked to your passport. The tickets are done and purchased, so it doesn't matter whether you have one or not. And we know that actually some of the Hujjaj in our group have received those from other people. So it's even been emailed out but gone somewhere else. That's a a complete joke that they are. However, the bigger issue is that the immigration don't check about what airline you came in or whatever. Do you have any idea that how many people, well, not that many people, but we have people in our group that are not even flying on a group flight. They're coming from all over the place, and people are buying and selling flights left, right, and center. So it doesn't matter. Once you have the Nusuk booking, they don't care about anything else. So you don't need to worry. Just make sure you print out everything that we've printed out. Nothing more is needed. Some people have just kind of jumped in. Let's answer this one. Could you please explain the exact ruling for men's hair and if their hair is not all one length for Umrah and Hajj? Could you please explain the exact ruling for men's hair if their hair is not all one length? No, that's okay. That's okay. If you mean shaves and fades and whatever, as long as it doesn't look like a monk, proper cut round like crazy, like a Shaolin temple or some Friar Tuck behavior, then it's allowed, it's permissible. All right, let's take a couple of folks. So put your hands up right now very quickly to see. I'm going to take 3 questions. At the moment, I can't see anybody. Right, okay, Muhammad Shahid Al-Hassan and then Safiya. So you can speak. Muhammad, go ahead, and Sophia can go next. And then Muhammad is going to go next. These are the only three that I'm going to take. All right, and then we'll open a general chat a little bit later. Go ahead. Muhammad Shahid Ul Hassan.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Sheikh,
yes.
The buses or the coaches from Birmingham, I think he gave us an address. Is that the final address?
That is the final address. Yes, it is the final address. And I'm going to put the final. I've actually finalized now. Alhamdulillah. Just I'm glad you asked me that. Birmingham is finalized in terms of 2 p.m. and the address. There's so much happening, man. I swear to God that I've got not even a chance to even eat, which is crazy, right? But that is finalized and the time. Manchester is finalized at 12:30, and it's going to be the Stockport Pyramid. And then the earlier one is then confirmed that we will 6:30 gathering, but 7 o'clock in the morning leaving, 7 a.m. and it is 7 a.m. and it is Chido Masjid. But yes, Birmingham confirmed.
Okay, one more question, Sheikh. Am I allowed?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, what time do you recommend us to go reach the coach station or the coach place? Sorry.
Oh, not that early. Not that early. I mean, actually, we pushed it back in order to make it easier for everybody, right? So, being there 20 minutes before is absolutely fine. Yeah, there's no checking process. There's no nothing. And the Birmingham coach is a very nice one. There's only like about 15 of you, and this is one of our brothers, Uthman, who is his place, and we'll make a choice about which of the buses to use. I'll show you a picture of it in a little while as well. So no, you don't need to get there super early. That's all.
Jazakallah.
All right, barakallah feek. All right, I want to say, Sophia, you're next, so unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam, how you doing?
Alhamdulillah, how are you doing?
I'm all right, man. Sort your phone out, man. I swear to God, your phone is the biggest pain ever.
I'm sorry. I fixed the settings
on
Telegram, but apparently not my regular phone.
Never mind. Speak to me.
So not an urgent question, but I was looking at the itinerary and I just wanted to check, is STH, so STH leaves Medina on Tuesday.
Correct.
So do we do Umrah Tuesday night?
Correct. You'll do it with Shaz and Naeem. You will do the Umrah the same evening, and then the 1400 will do it the next day. And yeah, exactly that.
So do we leave then before the Ajwa distribution?
No. Ajwa will happen, making sure STH get their full order and everything.
Okay, Jazakallah khair.
Barakallah feek. See you inshallah soon and the whole family. Salam to everyone. Yalla, assalamu alaikum. Who was it? Muhammad, yes, go ahead. Muhammad.
Sheikh, I've seen a lot of people talking about giving charity over there. Do you have any provisions over there to give charity in clothes?
In clothes? I can't see why not. Bit of a headache, but I can't see why not. Yeah.
Yeah. Inshallah.
Bring it. Actually, I take that back. It's not a headache. It's a headache because I'm thinking of Medina. My apologies. In Medina, just the nature of the person having to come and whatnot, it's a bit of a headache. But in Azizia last year, we did a real big charity drive. You see, last year we were next to the Afghani Azizia building. And at the end of Hajj, there's a couple of us amongst us. And I'm just telling you this now, right? That there's a lot of opportunity for people to step up, right? In this Hajj group. You'll know that I'll be leaning on everybody to sacrifice, to help, to volunteer. And I'm taking that very, very seriously. We lead by example, absolutely. But we expect all of you to be very generous, charitable, across the board in every way. And one thing I really like is good initiatives. And each Hajj, we've had great initiatives from the people in different ones, and especially in the Nusuk age as well. So I remember in 2023, for example, one sister, she was already involved in soup kitchen kind of behavior. And so therefore, she's she's looking at the amount of food that was being wasted in our own base camp. And so what she did off her own back, and then she put it out there, and then people then really loved the idea, is they went to the local supermarket, got boxes, and then they would pack the food and they would go and distribute it to some local people. Massive headache, but they did it every night. And then last year was this girl who said, you know what, why don't we just collect from the group? I swear that I said, man, you know what, they don't bother them. They're giving sadaqah here, sadaqah here. They'll say, okay, can you let me post it? I said, you know what, let me post it. Posted it, and we bought 50 wheelchairs. 50 wheelchairs. And I thought, oh my God, subhanAllah, this is crazy. What a fantastic idea. Previous time, last year again, one of the Hajjaj said, you know what, we should do something for next door. And they've got thingy, and there was all the stuff that we're throwing away, which is like the nusuk bags, the bags themselves. They've got these little things inside, you know, musallas, and they've got clothes, and they've got this, that, whatever, medicines and whatever. So she, it was, and then a group of brothers as well, they all got together and they collected from everyone massive like container of stuff that we were actually going to throw away or leave behind, and then we gave them to things. So the answer to your question is yes, but I need people to step up. Initiatives, ideas, energy, helping one another, thinking about others. Sometimes you're going to hear it hit down, right? Don't take that as a negative response. That's experience. So when we say that's not going to happen, then it's, someone will have a heart attack when you see the amount of plastic everywhere, bottles everywhere. You're going to say, I want to do cleaning up. Bro, you can't solve that problem. Nobody has been able to. You have to close your eyes to the amount of plastic wastage that you're going to see, the horrible recycling, lack of recycling situation. There's certain things you can't change. Some of you guys are going to go crazy on the cats. We've seen Yani Fazana already and a few others talking about that. That's great. But again, you've got to keep that under control as well. There's loads and loads and loads, and you can't do everything. So common sense, but initiatives, generosity. I expect to see a lot of that on display from an AE group. Our group is famous everywhere it goes, not just because of what it says AE everywhere, but because when you walk by people like in the advert, I want to be that guy, I want to be that girl. You have a lot of responsibility. You are carrying my name and my izzat, okay? We have a huge reputation, mashallah, and I know that you guys will take it seriously. Barakallahu feek. Okay, I'm going to let Junaid, because it's I'm feeling generous. Junaid, you're in.
Assalamualaikum, Sheikh Saab. Just a quick question. On the Saturday London 10 p.m. flight, when will we be able to do our seat selections? Because I don't think we're getting the e-tickets, are we?
That's right. I mean, you might still get it. The email will come whenever you get it, but you won't be able to do it on the e-ticket anyway. They don't allow it because these are group bookings. Or that's what it seems anyway. That's all the responses that I've been hearing from the group members that have got the e-ticket. So that's pointless. So only any upgrades or changes or selections can only happen at check-in, like I said in the video. Yeah, okay. and check-in. Everyone's getting there 5 hours beforehand. They normally open in Hajj at 4 to 5 hours beforehand. And so the most important thing is first to see the guide, get the documents, the cards, which I'll explain tomorrow, and then go to a stand and try it. Now, I'll also say that if you get there early before check-in opens, the ticket office will be open there. You can go to them and say, right, I'm here. I don't have a printed ticket. You would block me from being able to do it because you said it's a group ticket. Well, I'm here in front of you now. Please allow me to change my ticket or not, or is there availability or not? But basically at the airport, okay?
All right, thank you.
Zainab, I'm getting soft in my old age. Go ahead, Zainab Yusuf. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, Jazakallah. I was just asking on the Toronto YYZ, is it going to be our guide with that?
Who do you want is the question.
It doesn't matter, anybody.
Well said. Well said. That's a very political safe answer. I'm sending you my best person in the world. Do you know who that person is?
No, I don't.
Widad wishes it was her.
Widad, right?
Well, she's my second best, right?
Okay. Who is the other one?
Depending upon the day, she's my first best and my second best. But actually, you got Danish and Widad on that flight. You guys are living the luxury of luxuries, okay? So you're going to have a great flight. Only 42 of you, and you have 2 of my guides. Make sure you look after them, okay? Yallah. All right, guys, that's enough.
Them first before check-in.
Huh? That's right. They'll be there early, and you'll see them, and they'll give you you'll get the lanyard and the baggage tags, nothing else. ID cards and everything else you'll get in Medina, Americans and Canadians, but you'll get enough to be able to, do everything that you need to. Just stick to them. You're going to have a great journey, inshallah. All right, guys.
Do I carry a praying mat, or we'll get a praying mat there?
Turkish normally give prayer mats, by the way. It's one of the nice things. They have a really nice bag. I was looking at the last year's bag. It's really nice, actually.
Okay.
But to be honest, I always found that women normally usually carry a prayer mat in their handbags all the time anyway. So, but the Turkish Airlines, I found always for their Umrah passengers, they give it. But at the second one, though, they don't give it to Istanbul. They'll give it to you from Istanbul to Medina.
To Medina, okay, perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
Barakallahu feekum. Jazakumullah khair, everybody. Oh my God, you bunch of packies! You forgot to tell me to press record. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. I swear to God. Surrounded by kebabs, man. All of you kebabs, my team of kebabs. Doc kebab, Nazia kebab, Jiva kebab, all of you kebabs, everyone's a kebab. I forgot to press record. And I said to you lot to tell me to press record. You know what? For all the people that have missed everything, yeah, it's all upon you lot. Barakallahu feekum, jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Oh my God, bunch of kebabs.